the third thing I would like to talk about is how do we treat amblyopia. We've talked a little bit about the forms of amblyopia and how amblyopia develops. I'm going to talk mainly about refractive amblyopia because that's going to be the best one to explain. You have one eye that is on the curve or a camera that focuses light and sends nice signals to the visual cortex, and you have another eye that's way off the curve, and so it does not do a nice job of focusing light and in turn sends blurry signals. When I get a child like this, they will have 20/20 in the eye that has a nice visual cortex, because again, the eye doesn't do the seeing, the visual cortex does the seeing. So when this is developed, you've got a child who has 20/20 vision. This eye depends on how severe the amblyopia is, but let's see this child sees 20/60. What that means is that someone that can see something at 60 feet, this child would have to walk up to 20 feet to see it. Furthermore, it sees it real jumbled and out of order because these connections are all over the place. So when I get this child, what my goal is to get this visual cortex to improve in size and function and to get this hooked up better so that ultimately I can change this 20/60 to a 20/20. What we generally do is kind of three things. The first thing that you do to treat amblyopia is you have to put a pair of glasses on this child that they wear full time. What this does is it makes an even playing field so that now instead of having a +2 eye and a +6 eye, you've given the advantage so that both eyes can focus light perfectly. This child is not going to put these on and see 20/20 right away, because even though now you've got a camera that focuses light perfectly, you've still got these crazy connections, and that is ultimately what needs to be wired out. So what you're going to do is we're going to put the full correction on. This child needs to wear this full correction 100% of the time. Every time they take these glasses off, what happens to this camera? It sees blurry signals and it reiterates sending blurry stuff to the brain. When the lenses are on, this camera is working and it has the ability to send clear images. Sometimes God will do the work for us. All we need to do is put the glasses on. That's enough to give this camera the full potential of seeing, and sometimes it'll straighten out these connections on their own, and you'll have a child that'll go from 20/60 slowly up to 20/20. Sometimes that doesn't work. So if we go back to the initial poor connections and say we put the glasses on and we're not making any improvement, the next thing that we need to do is patch the good eye, and that forces the brain to only use this poor eye, so it forces these connections to rewire. So again, the first thing is going to be full correction, and that's why those drops are so important. I can only know what the full correction is by putting the drops in. So full corrections, and you're going to have to wear it 100% of the time. So 100% wear. And if this isn't enough to get these connections to rewire, then what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to patch, and it's always the good eye that you'll be patching. And what that does is it forces the weak eye or the poor eye to kind of pay attention and rewire things and get things straightened out. And that's what I'll be doing, is seeing the child about every 6 weeks, checking how much are they wearing their glasses, is this visual acuity coming up, and is there any binocularity that is starting to form. If we're starting to get binocularity such as 3D vision, then I know this visual cortex is growing and these connections are straightening out and doing what they need to be doing.